What is up, everybody? It is Alex from Heavy New York calling from the Alto again, and this time we return with George Lynch. Great to be able to talk with you. Thank you so much for coming back on the show to talk about this new End Machine album. It is awesome. Thanks for being here.
Dude, you really upgraded your set there.
I tried. You know, a little shameless self-promotion for the art. You got to do it sometimes.
No,
right?
that's honestly probably the nicest set I've seen doing these things. That's really cool.
Oh, thank you. You have a great setup as well, though. I'm looking at all the gear that you have in the background, and I know that the gearheads are definitely going to be fawning over this. So.
Oh yeah, I could pan around and there's all kinds of stuff going on in here. We're always tweaking on stuff and making music. It's pretty awesome. It looks like the functionality of your set is to human sacrifices.
Yeah, more or less along that type. You know what it is? It's because I don't have to rely too much on analog with that. You know.
Yeah, those digital sacrifices just aren't as satisfying to the dark forces.
Yeah, but it's less messy, and that's why I like it digital, you know?
Oh, okay.
But it's so great to have you here because the last time I spoke to you, we were talking about Phase 2. I can't remember if we were talking about Phase 2 or the self-titled End Machine album. But with this new End Machine album, the Quantum Phase, it really is beautiful in a way on how like everything moves and flows so beautifully. When it comes to this album, or maybe even any album that you've worked on, do you always have like a vision in mind of how you want an album to sound like, or do you just kind of like roll the dice and kind of let things sort of fall into place?
I do think I have a template for a vision that's pretty much, you know, invoked every single piece of work I've ever done. It's this thing in this kind of never-ending dragon I keep chasing. And then in each individual project, that gets sort of changed or molded to fit that project just naturally. So, and at the core of that, I would say, especially with the End Machine, at the core of that, it's the way that Jeff and I work together. It's what happens when we work together, that thing. And we've been working together for 40 years, some odd years. And when we sit down, it's the same exact thing every time. It's the same thing that happened the first day that we sat down and started writing and docking in Tooth and Nail, on a Tooth and Nail record, to the other few weeks ago when we sat down. It's the same, like we're two kids in a garage just with you know, drawing our fantasy pictures of our fantasy band and wanting to become rock stars. I mean, it's the same. I swear to God, it's so funny. We're still.
Oh, I'm sorry, you were saying.
And there's so many elements to that. You know, I don't want to go into the minutia of all the elements, but you know, there's just a thing, you know, a song that we share, that we try to keep writing, that we never quite get. And we keep chasing that, and so that's what it is.
Well, and what I find admirable is because, again, you and Jeff have been working together for 40 years, but like when I hear, you know, the self-titled End Machine album or Quantum Phase or Phase 2, it doesn't sound like Slave to the Empire from the Tooth and Nail series, and it doesn't sound like the Dokken stuff. You are all able to kind of work together and, you know, kind of have that same duality going, but always create something very different with each other. How do you do that in a way? Because, like, for instance, let's say Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr were to get back together and write music together. How do you not make it sound like the Beatles? You know what I mean? Like, or if like Mick Jagger and Keith Richards formed like another band together, how do you make something that doesn't sound like the Rolling Stones? So, like, with you and Jeff working together, how do you are able to create something that doesn't sound like, you know, what you've done with Dokken or Tooth and Nail, etc.?
Well, I would say backing up a little bit, the huge distinction I would make with those examples that you gave between them and us is the fact that the Rolling Stones and the Beatles had gigantic, massive, monster songs and hits worldwide, internationally. We haven't had any of that. So we're still chasing that. We're still trying to define who we are, you know. They've already done that. I think people at that level have the opposite problem. They have to try to chase what they did. That's when I don't buy new Rolling Stone records. I love the Rolling Stones, but I don't buy new Rolling Stones record because it's kind of sad to me.
Oh, okay.
And the same with even, I would say, just any of these gigantic legacy bands. pretty much just stick to the old stuff. It's hard for them to recreate that. And in our case, we've never had that kind of success, so we're still chasing that. But in your opinion, this new End Machine record is a departure from what Jeff and I have normally done in the past in Dawkins and other projects like you mentioned. But I don't hear that. I personally hear it being just another extension of that and another attempt at getting it right.
When it comes,
and I just think that the distinction is that we're more firing on all cylinders this time, and we were able to get a lot closer to our ideal on this record. That's partly because of Goresh.
Well, when it comes to collaborating together, because I think you both really stand up together, both work very well together, and you also work very well together individually. So when it comes to writing together, do both of you kind of need to be in the same emotional headspace and kind of be on the same playing field when writing together and collaborating together? Or could maybe your differences or maybe your different individual talents can maybe help create sort of like a hybrid, and it works together if you're not sort of feeling the same way, and you could do that to your advantage?
Well, I think it almost doesn't matter what we're individually going through in our lives or our headspace or anything. Once we get in a room together, it's generally always the same. I can't even think of a situation. Jeff and I have been very close friends for decades, and it's one of the rare instances where I've had a friendship where I've never had a falling out or we've never gotten in a fight. I'm just saying physical fight, but even any kind of even a serious misunderstanding. We've just had this kind of thing that it's always the same, and so the music is really all that matters, and is really the most important thing in our lives at that point. It's why we're here, why we exist. And we feel we're like burdened with this thing where we need to get it right, and so every time, and I know I sound like I'm repeating myself because I am, but every time we sit down, I don't care if the wife is calling and needs me to do this, or he's having a bad day, or I'm having a bad day. It doesn't matter. It's just, that is our kind of little holy space that we go to, and kind of like your studio right there. And but back in the day, I mean, we really took it seriously where, now of course we're in our own studios and everything working, and we have a very private environment and it's quiet and we can get to business. But back in the day, we didn't have that luxury. So back in the day, what we would do, we'd literally, I'm not making this up, we would take plywood and we would put nails or screws in the walls, and then we would paint, spray paint skulls and stay out and all this profanity and evil, kind of like your studio, evil stuff everywhere. And then we'd make it very kind of ominous and no trespassing kind of thing. And we go in there for days and lock ourselves in there, and that's where we came up with the moniker for our every studio we've ever had, which is a pretend name, but it's Scrotum Sound. So we call every studio we work in Scrotum Sound because it's our fucking studio ends up smelling like fucking sweaty balls by the time we're done, after the couple of days of whatever we're doing in there.
That's fascinating, though, because you're able...
Which has nothing to do with our balls.
But, I mean, either way, though, you not only were you able to create a whole catalog together, but you were able to create, like, your own atmosphere together, in a way. It almost seems like the collaboration between George Lynch and Jeff Pilson together, it would be like the ultimate, like, it should almost be like a TV show. Like, I could almost see, like, a franchise happening out of it.
No, I'm telling you, man, we've done a few things together, where we go on and do podcasts and stuff, and it is always freaking insane. It's insanely funny. But we've been talking about doing that kind of thing for decades, and of course we never will. But kind of a Beavis and Butthead thing. But the thing we wanted to do, we wanted to have a kind of a talk show format where the people that come on, unlike Eddie Trunk, the people that come on have to play music. When we have musical guests, you have to play. We got a band. I'm a Jeff plays drums. We have a drummer there, or a bass, and we have a drum guy there, and And it's a little setup though, nothing, not a big production, just a little funky setup. We're going to go back to where your roots here, where your garage days. Okay, we're going to jam. And you get to play your songs. You can play anything you know. We're not going to play Stairway to Heaven. We're just going to jam and see what you can do. We'll see what you got. And we'll put you under the light there, and then well, the other thing is we want to definitely have an episode of the I forget what we had, where we're going to call it, but it's all the most egotistical band people we could find. Now, I'm not going to name any names because I don't want to make enemies, but you know who I'm talking about.
Of course,
so we get these guys all in a room, and then we get them out egoing each other, and we egg them on, we bait them on, with like questions, and then the other guys will see that the other guys are getting more attention and telling bigger lying stories, and they'll try to one up them, and it'll just become this clusterfuck of massive self-entitled narcissism.
You need to make this happen. Like after, I know you got a full press day ahead of you, but welcome to another episode of Scrotum Sound. Like this is.
Yeah, that'll be the studio, right? Yeah, Jeff and George show. I know, I need to do that, but I never will because.
When it comes to your guitar soloing, though, because and your method of creating composition and stuff, because
can I interrupt for 1 second? Because I just had a thought and I'll forget it.
Please.
But I do apologize.
While I'm recording, so you don't forget this time.
Yeah. Maybe that really good idea that I just told you we had. Well, since you're really good at this stuff, maybe you could be our manager, and you can make it happen, and then we'll make sure we do it.
Okay. I mean, I'd probably.
Oh yeah.
I've never managed before, so we'll see. But I've spoken with enough.
Well, that just means you remind us to do it.
Oh well, I am great at nagging people, so.
Oh okay.
Yeah, so I could be quite the punisher if need be.
All right, meet our manager, John Nagler.
All right, I'll take it. I
appreciate it. All right.
I'm honored to accept this.
We'll draw up the paperwork after the interview.
Sounds good. But when it comes to your guitar soloing, because I feel like you really are able to convey a lot of emotion within your composition, and I think that your work really captures a moment. When I listen to this new End Machine album, when I listen to Quantum Bass, it really takes me on a journey and really kind of, again, flows very nicely. But, sometimes you are working on a song for, hours and weeks on end sometimes, and, time being what it is. So do you find that the longer that you're working on something, the harder it is to sort of maintain the emotional spark? Is there a way that you kind of have to keep that feeling the same way in order to complete the song?
Yeah. Two things are happening. One is you want a technically perfect solo, and that takes time. And on the other hand, you want a spontaneous, heartfelt thing that people can identify with their hearts and emotionally, instead of their left side of their brain or whatever side of that brain that does math or whatever. So, I try to just naturally find that balance, where, okay, I don't want it to be sloppy, and I want some flow there, and maybe I got off track here when I was just doing a pass at it, but it had a cool, fiery, emotional, sporadic thing that's cool, but you want to clean it up. That's kind of where I'm at. So I try to do that. I try to compromise in both areas so that. But I listen to other guitar players that I love, and that are different than me, and maybe they don't have that. And I don't even know when you say emotional, what we mean by that. But I don't even know there's probably not even a word for what I'm trying to describe, because I think it's just the uniqueness of that we all have as players. When I play and I'm kind of in the zone, I'm just talking. I guess it's a language, and when I'm at my best, I can, I can flow and I'm just speaking from the heart and all that kind of good stuff, right? But you can't really think about that. If you think about it, it goes away. It's like quantum physics, which our album, or the Quantum Bass. So it's the observer. If a wave or particle is observed, then it disappears or becomes something else, and all these kind of things. It could be in two places at the same time. All these spooky things. Well, that's kind of the same with creativity, I think, in a sense. Maybe it's quantum creativity, where it's like if you try to observe it, it disappears. So I can't think about it. I have to just create the environment where it happens. And so to get that to happen, there has to be this kind of mindset. It's all in the head. It's not in the hands, it's just in the head, you know. And I have to just not think. Is maybe the too simple a way of stating it, but
yeah. Artists are the worst overthinkers in the world, and thinking is often working to our downfall. You don't want to half-ass
thinking.
something.
You know what? I'm getting a T-shirt. It's going to say "Thinking is stupid."
Let's do it. You got the new merch line happening. We thought of a TV show.
That's not a contradiction at all, right?
No, it's not a contradiction at all. And even if it is, I think that it's funny and it's true. So
right. Thinking is so stupid. It's so dumb.
Absolutely. And you led me perfectly into the final question, because I know we're a little limited on time. But I think it's fair to say throughout your career, because with loads of great songs, loads of great albums, inspiration tends to strike at some of the most inconvenient of times, right?
Oh, well, not at. There's one even more inconvenient time potentially where it never strikes, but it usually strikes me when I'm driving, riding my motorcycle, or when I'm waking up, or even at night in a dream, and then I'll wake up and I'll like, oh, I got to remember this, and then it's gone, you know, before I can't really jump out of bed, run downstairs, go into the studio, turn everything on, and then if I do that, and I have tried that, or even grab acoustic guitar and record on my phone, by the time I do that, it's gone, or it's changed a little bit, and then it just keeps fading. It's like, you know, like any other dream. So, and that's even the same where I'm getting an idea driving. It's like, I'll try to capture it on my phone, you know, in my voice memo, and you hear the, you know, car noise in the background and the traffic noise and me, which I can't sing, and I'm trying to sing this riff that was in my head or something, and I'm doing the beat, boom, tsh, boom, boom, tsh, the whole thing, and I listen back at it. It is the dumbest thing you ever heard, but in my head it sounded freaking awesome. So I'm like, yeah, that's how that happens.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do an album. My next album, by the way, I know this is our last question, but is I was thinking I really wanted a save on expenses. So I thought this will be great. Just I'll fool people, and I'll just, you know, all those ideas I told you about I get on my voice memo.
Yeah.
That's going to be the album.
Genius. That's the best trolling I've ever heard of in my life. You got to make that happen.
There's also some guitar, obviously most of it is guitar things of me just kind of coming up with ideas and stuff, but it's all fucked up, you know, it's not great. So I think that's what's great about it, is it's not great.
Fans are going to enjoy it, though. They're going to look at that as like a novelty collector's item or something like that. I mean, I would love it if, like, I would have loved it if some of my favorite guitar players who are sadly not around, like, imagine what, like, Dimebag Darrell or Randy Rhoads, like, voice memos would have been like if they had the iPhone at that time.
But I think if you heard them, you wouldn't think that way. Then they'd lose all their mystique, and you wouldn't appreciate them as much anymore, or you think they're a bunch of dummies. But as my manager, I'm going to trust your opinion on this.
Okay, I think you should do it. I think you should do it, and we'll have all the PRs and you know, market it like it's a brand new George Lynch album, and it'll be amazing.
Yeah, because like on the liner notes and everything, we'll explain, you know, how the massive amount of pre-production, the big heavyweight producers we brought in, you know, Mutt Lang and Rick Rubin, and we'll lie. And we won't really have those guys, but we'll just create this whole thing done. We'll say that it was recorded in different magical, magnificent spots all around the world, you know, 12 different locations, 12 different songs. These were written with the Moray indigenous native people on this tropical island, using all those native antique instruments. We were naked and we were eating other people's bones because we were cannibals to get the fucking infused with the whole thing that we needed to feel right to get that right. And then we went to, you know, some other place, you know, Paris, and then some other place. And we'll lie and we'll say all this, and we'll make it sound like this massive production, you know, the orchestra from Moscow and blah, blah, blah. And then people get the record, and all it is we just fucking sing it into my voice memo on my iPhone on the 405 freeway in LA on the way to the gym.
I love it. I'm picturing.
It's a really good idea.
I'm picturing all this in my mind. Well, George,
do we have a good lawyer?
I know some people. I know my lawyer's pretty good. I heard him. Oh, Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe. They're really famous. I think we should
dream team.
We should get our friend Muncie as our lawyer. It'll be like a reenactment of My Cousin Vinny.
I got this other guy too. He's really good. Is Johnny Cochran's brother is Johnny Cochran. Right.
Oh my God, I love it. I love it. I love it. Keep them coming.
Yeah, but well, if a glove fits, you must acquit. But it's not a regular glove. It's the kind of glove you put on your dick.
I'm aware. Yeah. The Trojan horse, as we call it.
Right. He defends a lot of porn stars.
I love it. Hey, they need lawyers too.
If the glove fits, you must acquit. That line works in a lot of different applications.
And adding to that merch line of the thinking is stupid.
Oh my God, this is crazy. We're going to be huge.
I love it. I love it. But thank you so much, everybody. We are here. Man. We are here with George.
It was fun.
This was a very fun one.
I'm on to the next one. This is the first one of the day, so we keep going. But thank you, man, for interviewing me and having the nice comments on the record. I appreciate it.
Thank you for your music, and and for continuing to give us amazing new epic musical journeys. Everybody, George Lynch of the End Machine. Be sure to check out the Quantum Phase. We will see you next time on Heavy New York.
Take care.